Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Hi, this is Tim Humphrey. Today's video is about Drexciya. So everything James Stinson and of course uh, Donald. What am I blanking on his name? Donald. Gerald Donald. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to kind of go over my collection of their music and talk about some of my favorite records and songs and things like that. And so I got a chance to check out some Drexciya on a few compilations back in like '99 and 2000, just right before he started doing his um, the seventh Storms series of releases. And um, right around that time, so James Stinson won half of Drexciya, and what ended Drexciya was James Stinson passed away, and sadly in 2002. And it's strange when somebody who's really artistic and does a lot of output, suddenly passes away. They get this like sometimes they get this feeling of like just putting out a lot of output because maybe they're feeling like life is short, or you know, or they just they don't know that they're going to pass away, but they just put out so much music in such a little time that when they do pass away, it's like, well, it's good they put out so much music, and there's a lot of people out there that hold on to music and then when they pass away, it finally comes out. But a lot of people wouldn't say it necessarily has to do anything with their quality control, or they're just putting out music, but they're just finding a lot of just a lot of creativity is coming out of a certain time, and they wanted to get out there, and it was right. I think he passed away when he was like 32. So the guy's output for 11 years was just amazing. And of course Gerald Donald, who's gone on to do some good stuff as well. But specifically the Drexciya project is just amazing on multiple reasons. I really like the idea of the kind of the artwork and the kind of story, and how his music is really like almost like a cartoon, or a storyboard, or the visual is like a storyboard for the music. I always liked that aspect. It kind of reminds me of, and some of the artwork, it just kind of reminds me, just because it was in like a cartoon, was those old '60s and '70s, where they had the guys on the planes and in the water and stuff like that. It was sort of motion. I don't think they were puppets. I think they were just just motion, motion stop, like picture how that they move and they take different pictures and they put it together. It looks like a sequence. I think it was like that, but it was like it was called the something, the Astron, it was about the pilots that were on the ships, and they would then you'd see them go into the water and stuff like that. And I can't remember the name what they are, but I used to love that cartoon when I was a kid. And the artwork in it reminds me a lot of that. Even though it looks totally different, it just kind of has a cartoon feel and a movie feel, and I'm sure eventually there'll be some movies done, or some kind of show taking the music of Drexciya and the visual that Abdul Haq did. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Ahqqq. Abdul Hakim Haq. Really nice guy. He actually, I got a chance to get this from him, and I had it signed. Here's his signature here, and this is the Drexciya Cruiser. So I got it framed, so it's on my wall. So one of the objects I like the most, is their little cruiser, Drexciya Cruiser. So the guy's in there, and it's obviously based on I don't know exactly what, kind of like a squid, You know what I mean? It has the fins up here, and these obviously would sort of retract and flow and, you know, propel the ship forward, right? Super cool. To put that into a, you know, graphics, like, you know, and then into artwork, into a theme of some music, is just phenomenal. Very cool. Just why I had his name up, here's another one of his really nice artwork. This one's on Orlando Vaughn's 2013 album. Starts with an I. I think it's Interpretations or something like that, or something like that. But this is one I need to get framed too. It's also really cool. Just a planet there coming out of another planet. Very cool. But really cool artwork. And he did a lot of the Drexciya artwork. I'm not sure how much, if not all of it, but for the ones that you know are themed like that, I believe he did. One of those is, of course, Neptune's Lair. So there it is on the back of the CD there, and you know, just obviously cool label, cool artwork. You know, it just goes hand in hand. There's the old Drexciyan kind of guy there, right? Kind of a aquatic, you know, themes always, because they're in the ocean, and you kind of see the fins and stuff on the guy, right? So, and then kind of like a scuba gear type head, you know, mask thing, so you can breathe. Very cool. You know, when I think of the music and so you know, a lot of their releases were done on Trezor, which has that Detroit, German, Berlin sort of tie to the music, right? And then a lot of the records were on, you know, UR and Submerge and things like that. Some Detroit labels that are still famous today. Underground Resistance, which, if you don't know, Jeff Mills came from, and Robert Hood and Kenny Larkin, and you know, I'm blanking on one guy's name. But yeah, so I mean, just hugely impactful on every respect, and the artwork still didn't do the music justice. I mean, the artwork is cool, and the music is out of this world. It's on another level. So I got a chance to check out Trezor on like a 1999 compilation, and then you know, it was really hard to find Drexciya stuff in the record stores in the early 2000s. It wasn't until about 2000, 2001 that I start finding a lot of it online and buying it and things like that. And I think by the time, you know, probably 2005, I pretty much bought most of the stuff that I had, and he's continued to get popular with his, you know, as more people recognize him, and people have done some reissues and stuff like that. Most of my records are fairly original, although I did buy some reissues too, just because it's, you know, it's just want doubles. So this is Neptune's Lair. This is actually probably, I'm not sure if this is my least favorite, and I'm saying that least when it's actually very good. But when I compare this to like the Seven Storms that came later, those records, I like this a little bit on the lesser side, and that could be because the tracks aren't as long. But this has so many tracks. It has 20 tracks, but only, you know, 2, 3. Only 5 of the 20 tracks are over 4 minutes, so I generally like. It is kind of cool to hear like a minute or two song here and there, and you kind of. But you know, as far as like mixing and DJing and liking a groove to set in and stuff like that, you know, I tend to like the longer tracks. They're a little bit more deeper, and they kind of, you know, when you see the more themed tracks from some of the other themes that he puts on, like. Those tracks, they evolve a little bit longer, and I'd rather have 10 to 12 tracks on a record instead of 20. 20 just makes me lose a little bit of track where it is, you know, because not all the times I'm gonna listen for, over an hour to a CD. But there's so many good ones on here still. Lost Vessel is really cool. Fusion Flats. Funk Release Valve. They all have that kind of aquatic name to it, and it's tied to the storyline. It's very cool. Obviously, Adrienne Sand Dunes is a really popular one on this, and Species of the Pod, great one. Just so many goods here. Draining of the Tanks is a really cool one. Just a lot of good ones on here. So much good stuff. I mean, the only reason I don't have this one on vinyl because it's, again, not my favorite, but there's kind of the, move over Marvel Comics and stuff, right? Drexciya was way cooler than Marvel Comics even. And then, I remember being at a record store at like 2002, and I picked up this, and I didn't know it was related to Drexciya, and I just bought it, put it on, came home, and listened to it, and was like, "What is this?" And it made sense later on when I realized. I'm not sure how much later I found out that this is kind of right before I was on Discogs, so Discogs was probably late 2001, 2002, and this came out in 2001, so it's been on, I didn't know who this was for a couple months until I found out that it was Drexciya. But probably one of the most abstract ones he did. It doesn't really have the water theme because it's not under Drexciya, right? So it's a little bit more industrial in a way, kind of interesting rhythmic, kind of like a little bit of electro in there, but Dimensional Glide is a great track. Do You Want to Get Down? The vocal and without the vocal, just great songs. Unordinary Realities and Negative Flash are two of my other favorites on here. And of course, Crossing Into the Mental Astroplane. Just super cool name, super cool artwork, and that's the cool thing about like electronic music is, you're in the aisle, right? You're 25 years old at the time, 24, and you see all this Julio Iglesias and Madonna and all kinds of rap stars, and you see their names, and their music, and you go into a record store and you see something like this. That pulls you in, right? What is that? What kind of music is that? I'm gonna take a chance on it, and that's what's great about electronic music and techno is it sounds like that. How cool is that? Another one I really dig. All of them I really dig. Here's Grava 4 right here. Just amazing record. I think I have the vinyl here somewhere. If I don't, it must be. Oh, here's Grava. This original copy of Grava 4. So this is one of the 7 storms. Just even though it's on Drexciya, it's not in the aquatic theme. It's more in the celestial space. You see the kind of the artwork there is kind of star patterns, right? Some of the tracks on here, just the Drexciyan Rest Principle, Drexciyan Star Chamber, Cascading Celestial Giants, Gravity Waves, Astronomical Guideposts is a dope track. High Tech Nomads. Talk about a spacey electro. This fucking nailed it. What an amazing record this is. Just kick ass. Amazing. The artwork on that CD. God, these guys are legends. In every aspect. You put on these now and they're 23 years old, and you're still like That sounds like it's from another planet. That sounds like it's from out of this world. That's how amazing their music is. And a lot of people have mimicked their style. You know, I can think of, when I think of the Drexciya, which is actually it's actually in a way, in my opinion, it's the snares in electro. Drexciya uses the same snare in a lot of the same songs if you listen to his songs, and that just kind of shows you that it's really not about the rhythm. It's about what's around it, and you know, because if you look back to like early 80s electro and stuff like that, the beats may be a little bit different. But a lot of times the snare was very much the same, and that kind of carries over to this, which I find kind of ironic. I don't know if he meant to do that or if he meant to, why he meant the snares to, a lot of them to sound the same, but they do. And some people think that's kind of lazy in a way, but that just adds to for me, that adds to the even more higher creativity, that he could put something in there that's been on other songs and not be like, oh, I gotta make this snare different. No, just that's the origin of electro. That's part of the history of electro sound. Like, let me do everything else on top of it differently. It's just kind of, I don't know what I'd be interested to ask Gerald Donald that, or you know, or James Stinson. I wish I could ask him that, but I'd just be so interested in asking why, if they thought about a lot of their snares sounding exactly the same. And of course, this was on Clone Records, which was a huge supporter. They do a lot. They put out a lot of great electro and techno, and they've always been big supporters of Drexciya and electro and techno. And man, they're a great record store, great online record store, and they've just been doing a great job for almost 30 years now. Another one I need to get on vinyl, actually, Shifted Phases. This is another one of the Seventh Storms. The Cosmic Memoirs of the late, great Rupert J. Rosenthorpe. What a mouthful that is for a name. But it kind of goes with the music. It's just kind of this unknown memoirs of some astronomer, right? Some guy that was kind of like, it's kind of has like a novel theme to it, right? I mean, it kind of ties back to Drexciya. This came out in 2002. I mean, just the seventh wave, the seven waves, the seven records. I mean, you're talking about, they all came out within like a year and a half, and they are, I mean, all of them like 10 songs. You're talking about like 70 songs put out in a year and a half just on the records. I'm not even talking about any other releases that were this groundbreaking for him to do within a year or two. It's just amazing. And that's why it ties to why I think that people under different names, and they write music under a different name, and that kind of gives them a different creativity to lock into. Shifted Phases kind of gave him a different angle of inspiration to write about. He's not necessarily exactly writing about Grava 4, even though they're both space themed. This is kind of has a like older period to it, like an older, not necessarily sound. I mean, Grava 4 is a little bit more futuristic than this when it comes to the level of production. This is more like a space version of Neptune's lair. This one's a little bit more raw, not as, you know, with probably not as detailed as Grava 4, but it's not supposed to be, because it's supposed to sound older. This is, I mean, if this is almost written in like 1920s, like when they discovered Pluto, you know what I mean? Like, it has that kind of aura about it, where it's, I mean, you just hear some of these songs. I mean, Solar Wind is amazing. Lonely Journey of Comet Bop, amazing. Dance of the Celestial Druids, what a fat song that is. What a fucking dope song. Waveform Cascades. Alien Vessel Distress Calls, Flux. Crossing of the Sun Rod Nebula. God, just, I mean, talk about like your mind just like, what is this going to sound like? And then or if you don't listen, if you don't read what they're called, and you're listening, and then you're like, what is this song called? Oh yeah, it's called The Dance of the Celestial Druids. It sounds like that. It's that fucking way out. It's, I mean, God, I mean, these guys are just on a roll. James Stinson, man. And I have to, as much as I like the ARPANET stuff, I almost feel, no disrespect to Gerald Donald, but I feel like Stinson was just on another level. You know, I mean, and probably it was the collaboration of the two. And I really like the ARPANET stuff a lot, but man, this Drexciya stuff is just on another level. One of my favorite, another part of the Seven Storms. This one came out in '02 also. Harness the Storm, just amazing. My CD's cracked a little bit. I've played this CD so much. Harness the Storm. I mean, listen to some of these names: Soul of the Sea, Digital Tsunami, Underwater. Oh, sorry, Undersea Disturbances, Song of the Great Whale, or Green Whale, Aquatic Cataclysm. Another one of my favorites is Lake Haze. Dr. Bloflin's, God, it's hard to read these. The Black Storm Stabilizing Fears. Song of the, I haven't said that. Soul of the Sea. The Plankton Organization. I mean, there's has some of my writing on here, my favorite tracks at the time, but man, just a kick-ass CD. God, they were just killing it then. I mean, amazing. This is the Electroids, Electro World. Obviously, this is their version of sort of like mimicking Kraftwerk. You see the Computer World colors and the writing and 4 members, even though I think there's only 2, right? So it's, there might have been a couple more with this. This is a side project. I can't remember if it has anybody else, but some of my favorites on here, Stun Gun is phenomenal. Japanese electronics is so dope. Future Tone, Mystery World, Midnight Drive, Time Tunnel. Psh, killing it. Killing it. This one was on Warp Records. Just killing it, man. Another one of the Seven Storms, so the Lab Rat XL. I think my favorite is 3 or 4. There's only 6 tracks on here. Solid, not as good as some of the other ones. I don't go back to this one as much. This is Mice or Cyborg. But again, gave another opportunity to do a different type of style of music. And again, this is on Clone, which has, Clone had Duplex and Lego Welt and Adult. I mean, God, they're just killing the Dutch electro scene was just on fire then, especially in the late 80s. Late 90s. The Dutch have always been really good at electro. Not James Stinson, they're obviously not Dutch, but Cologne has always been on that kind of the Dutch scene when it comes to electro. Probably one of my favorites, probably top 3. It's hard to say. Lifestyles of the Rich and Lifestyles of the Laptop Cafe. Might have my all-time favorite song in here. Moonlight Rendezvous, such a great groove. Some people say that, and I can hear it. It sounds like the bass line in Michael Jackson's Billie Jean, except without one note. Like it's do 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 do. So it's like missing one, I think, note of the bass in Thriller. I don't have it in my head to like do it for you, but I feel like it's it's missing one, or the Drexciya version is adding one to it, but it sounds a little bit differently. But when you listen to the tone of you can see how it sounds like the bass line of it. One of my favorite chill out tracks to play, Sun Rays. It's like 12, I think it's like 12 or 30 minute long, just a great track, great vocal on it. If you know it, you know it. Let Me Be Me is a great track. I mean, yeah. You Said You Don't Want Me, great one. It's Your Love, Eye Contact. And the title song. Yeah, it's just amazing. What an amazing record. Interesting cover. This is so much different than like the other stuff, but he's got something to say, right? And this is the time of the electronic cafe, so you're going to internet cafes, right? And dumping your computer and sort of logging on, right? And seeing what the world has to offer, right? Versus going to the TV. And that's kind of the idea behind this, right? Lifestyles of the cafe. Just a computer out there in a computer monitor of a TV out in the woods. Very cool. Very cool artwork. I mean, a lot of their artwork is just so important to the music. I still have a sealed one. This one's still sealed for the rainy day because I've listened to this album so much. At the time when Tower Records was closing down, in 2006, 2007, I think it was. I was in Virginia at the time, and I was around I think it was 2 or 3 Tower Records, and one was probably within 3 miles of my place. Another one was like 10 miles. Another one was like 20. And I would go to them every day as they were closing, and they would have stickers on there, 25% off. You go in the next week, it was 40% off. Next week, like the last week, they were just, 75%, 90% off. They were just trying to blow out all these CDs, and I got about 15 of these for like less than $1 each. And I sold them. This is the last one I have left. I sold over, probably, this is back in 2007, so on my old Discogs account. I sold them all for like $30 a pop at the time, sealed ones, and they were selling like hotcakes. They sold out real quick for having 15 of something that wasn't so old. But so I made a killing on it. I still have probably like 30 to 40 sealed CDs that I got from Tower Records that I haven't necessarily opened, that I'm sort of selling on sale online. I wasn't selling online for a while, but they're kind of listed. They actually might not be listed anymore because I'm selling somebody else's collection on my Discogs account, and I don't want to confuse it. But I've sold some. There's probably over the course of that few months that they were closing that I probably bought, maybe 100 to 150 CDs, and they were all so inexpensive. So, and then I sold probably more than half of them and made some good money on that. Amazing CD, and here's the reissue right here. This is I guess Warp got a hold of it and they reissued it. This one is probably 2019 or 20 when they reissued this. This one's still sealed. Such a great album. Moving on to some of my vinyl. Where is it? Here's my original copy. I don't think there's any way to tell there's a difference. I haven't seen the inside of these records yet because it's sealed. Looks like the barcode is different, of course. I don't know if that's per release or not, but the writing is still the same as far as like on the barcode, but the numbers are different. But yeah, I have original, so I haven't really played the reissue yet. But I do play this one out a lot because I do like Moonlight Rendezvous, the track. such a good one. Some of their other stuff. There's LAM, Balance of Power, Balance of Terror. This is one of their earlier ones. This is actually a reissue. This is probably like 2012 or something like that. Reissue. I got a Balance of Terror sticker on there that I put on the record to kind of go with it. Yeah, originally this is 1992. This is reissue 2003. Can't remember when I bought it. I want to say this might be like 2010 because I think they reissued it a third time. But again, this is on clone. You know, I think originally it was on. Ooh, that's a tough one. Who was on originally? Was it on UR? Might have been on UR originally. Nuclear Facelift and Meltdown, two that I really like on here. Another one on Warp. So the Electroids, I think this is the only EP they had is Electroids, and this one has kilohertz on it, magnetic field, remote controlled Hornet, algorithms. This came out in '95. Really cool. I showed you the Electro World Record CD before. I was feeling a little overboard and bought 2 copies. They're both still sealed. Again, because I have the CD, so I mix CDs and vinyl. And but yeah, I haven't opened either one of these, which is strange. But great record. Generally, again, since these aren't necessarily quote unquote dance records to me, like 12-inch records, I'm gonna play the CD generally before I play the record. I think this reissue came out in like 2016. I want to say this is Black Sea, which is probably their most. Can't see it. Can't see it. I really looked at this that close, but it's all just clone stuff on it. No writing on it or anything. Pretty sure this is a Black Sea reissue. I can't remember what else is on here. Black Sea is one of their most popular songs. Trying to remember what song it's from. Is it from Digital Tsunami? Or no, it's from one of the UR EPs also, but so Black Sea reissue there. This is kind of one they still haven't got around to reissuing, and I'm not sure why that is. This is Transillusion Life. This is on Reflex, so maybe Reflex doesn't want to give it up. So I got a lot of these from a Discogs friend. Actually, this one says Tweaking Records, so I got this one in San Francisco, which probably meant I got it in 2004 when I was there. A lot of these, a few of these, the older ones that I'll get to in a second, Drexciya I bought from, if anybody knows, Keith Ellis, which I think was like, I'm trying to remember his Discog names, something like KLS1 or something like that. Really nice guy, Keith Ellis from UK, I think, or for me it was Scott, or was it from Scotland? He's from Scotland, but very cool record. Here's one of the, I think this was just one they feel like releasing a few from Transillusion record, because this one is Do You Want to Get Downs on here. Power of the Third Brain and Disrupted Neural Gateway, which I think they're outtakes, because I don't think they're, even though the color is the same, I don't think they're on, besides that Do You Want to Get Down on here. Let's compare and contrast, shall we? The Power of the Brain is not on here, and Disrupted Neural Gateway. No, so those 2 songs are new, maybe like outtakes they found from him, and then Do You Want to Get Down? I still haven't played this actually. probably got this in 2016, 2018, somewhere around there. Slowly got around it, dude. Here's one of the first Transolution record, which is from Life. And so this has a few tracks from that EP. Look at that. I bought it at Amina Records in like 2003 for $3.95 used. That was a score. Really strong EP. This one came out probably 2020. I think this is probably the last Drexciya thing I bought related. This one was one of the last ones that got released. So it's kind of some... I'm not sure the history behind this, but I'm pretty sure these are just outtakes. Stuff they found. It's called The Moment of Insanity. If I remember correctly, I only liked one song on here, maybe two. They're all called Moment 1 through 4. So I remember liking 2 of the 4. Again, the song Clone Records. Here's an older one from the UR period, but this got reissued on Submerge. This is Drexciya 3 modular enhancement. This is the marbled vinyl one. There's great tracks on here. Hydrocubes, aquatic beta particles, anti-vapor waves on here. Molecular enhancement. So cool. I got 2 copies of this. This is the reissue of Digital Tsunami, so this probably came out in like 2018, 2016. I used to have the original of this, but I can't remember what happened to it. Of course, I had the CD that it comes from, but this is 2001. Aquatic Cataclysms also on the album. Plankton Organization, Birth of New Life. So all 4 tracks are from the album. But this is the kind of, if you don't want to take both records out DJing, pull out the 12-inch, right? I got 2 copies of that. Another one I have 2 copies of that was around the same time was the reissue of Hydro Doorways from Neptune's Lair. So Hydro Doorways, Lost Vessels on here again, and Species of the Pods on here. So those are 2 of my ones that I really like. So there's Hydro Doorways. Original. Actually, this is the. I don't know what my original copy is. I should have 2 copies of this because I have this is still sealed, and I know I have the CD and I know I have the original record. I'm really sure I do. I don't think I sold it, but this is the reissue of Harness the Storm. Talked a little bit about that one earlier. This is on Trezor. I think the most songs I like of any Drexciya album is this album. I like. Again, this one only has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one only has 7 of the 10. So when I look back at the CD here of the 10 songs, I like 8 or 9 of the 10. And of course the 10th one, it's good too. It's just I really like the other ones. Again, this reissue of it, so it's probably like 2018. It's one of the later ones to get reissued. And then they came out with these the best ofs, right? And me being a completist, I still bought them, even though I got most of the songs. But here's 1 and 2. I did open these to check them out, but I don't think I've opened up. Here's 3 and 4. Looks like the 3rd one's still sealed. Free downloads. I didn't get my free downloads, I guess. clone classics, but you know, if I bought these, if for whatever reason I sold the original copies, you know, I'd have something to go back to. Guess I should finish opening that third one and get the downloads, but I don't care. I got the CDs. I've never went and got any of these downloads. Well, I'm curious. I don't think I've opened up this before. I can't remember how they look. At least they put them in. Okay, so they just got the Wave Jumper logo guy on there. There's the Clone Digital page. I wonder if it's still available. One of these days I'll have to. I just can't imagine that they still be out if they were. You know, these are 7 years old, and you can still get the files from that code. But I feel like I want to go through a lot of releases I have and just put the codes up online for people to have if they want them. Here's the other places. Oh, the other place, and featuring Mystic Tribe AI. This one's got Sorrow and A Cup of Joe and Telepathic Seduction. So this is the only EP they did under the other people's name, I think. There might have been one other one, but this one's pretty solid. Pretty solid. Not as good as the record, though. Here's Abstract Aqualung. I haven't played this one yet. Still sealed. This came out in 2020 on Clone. There's an original copy of the Abstract Thought. They finally reissued this originally. This is probably my least liked of the Seventh Waves. There is one track on here that I really, really like, and I can't remember what the name is. I lose track of some of the names on. If you were to play a song and you're like, oh, that's the song, it's really hard with some of the non-Drexciya ones, the side projects. I don't know which one it is, but this one, again, not one of my, probably my least favorite of the 7 series one. Original copy. Pretty sure I got this in probably like 2004. This one's on Combination Research record, which is super cool. That's a really good. That's what's his name's label, or I get a lot of. Oh man, it's gonna bug me what his name is. Combination Research. There's some good electro on that and good techno. I'm trying to think of the guy's name on that label. I can't think of it. So some older Drexciya. This one's Aquatic Invasion. These are original pressings in really nice condition, and I don't play them because these are I have them on CD a lot of times, and I only played them once back when I got them. There's only a handful of records that I won't play because I think they're going to be really valuable one day, and I don't want to mess them up. And these next few Drexciyas are in that. I'm not one of that guy. I'm kind of one of those guys who like is a rainy day. So eventually, someday I'll play this record, right? But I'm not going to take this out DJing, probably not, and I'm not going to break it out and necessarily play it on that messed up needle. So I'm not really like that in general, but you're seeing like the cream of the crop of some of my all-time favorite groups right now, with me doing some of these videos of artists that really influenced me, that I have a lot to talk about, and I mean, Drexciya is up there. Countdown Has Begun's on here, Sighting in the Abyss. Wave Jumper is obviously the single on here, which is one of the probably most popular songs, I would say, along with Black Sea. Amazing. I mean, like, artwork's amazing. Moving on to the Bubble Metropolis So I think this is yeah, this is UR. Aqua Wormhole, Posistron Island, Beyond the Abyss, Bubble Metropolis, Danger Bay, Welcome to Drexciya. And that is the reason why I bought some of those greatest hits to see if they're on here, so that I can play those. I haven't really eventually got around to it, but me being a completist, anyways, I bought them for that reason. I'm sure when I got those, but I still haven't got around to seeing if they're all on here. So I do play those a lot more, but I don't necessarily mix Drexciya a lot because the tracks are shorter. It's funny how there's certain bands you don't see in set lists a lot. Even in electro, you don't see Drexciya mixed in a lot, and it's not because their music isn't great. It's just, I don't know. It's just, they don't find their way into mix sets. Maybe I don't think it's because they're hard to mix, although some are. But when it comes to their 12 inches and especially the Drexciya stuff, there are more standard. Not saying any standard is bad, but more easier to mix electro tracks than not electroids, but like Grava 4 or something like that. It's a little bit more experimental, atmospheric electro than these are more raw. But yeah, great record. This is the first molecular enhancement. Oh, this is another version of Drexciya 3 molecular enhancement. So Hydrocube's on here again, and anti-vapor waves. This is the original copy. I always forget that I have the colored reissue, but this is the original one here. So. Couple of the really desirable ones. So here's Deep Sea Dweller. Seaquake's on here. Sea Snake. Depressurization is really, really good one. Nautilus. And it's on Shockwave Records, which is a 313 area code. So I'm guessing that's in Detroit. 313. Drexciya. So cool. Deep Sea Dweller. And this one's my double pack of the Unknown Aqua Zone. This is the double Aqua Pack for the Unknown Aqua Zone 4. This is like almost in mint condition. This copy. Landrosin Funk is one of my favorites on here. This is 1994. So yeah, those early Drexciyas are super important. I think the original artwork and stuff like this, like these will go. I think these will continue to go up in value. Like these original copies, even if they reissue these, originals are keeping their value, and I really think we're talking about this is like the Elvis of electro. This is like this is like the king. He passed away. This is like Buddy Holly. It's like as if Elvis died when Buddy Holly did, and he would have done that much after. Just Drexciya is so revered and loved, and just the music is so phenomenal. Just a few other projects I have. This was a really interesting project. I can't remember the girl's name, but she passed away sadly a couple years ago. But this was James. It was like 2013. It's these two girls and Gerald Donnell. I can't pronounce the name of him. It's like Zwitzenwelt or something like that, and it's called Paranormal Activate. This is on Reflex Records. Very cool, experimental. If you mixed sort of like DIY early 80s cassette culture that was like Throbbing Gristle or something like that, and you mixed it with electro, there's a cold new romantic, not new romantic, but it's interesting. It's kind of like they look new romantic, but they're futuristic, and it's hard to balance it and kind of describe it because they sort of look, I wouldn't say goth, but they're not, but it's kind of more new romantic new wave, but it's in the vein of like Visage. Like if you put Visage with Drexciya, it would sound like this. It's kind of the best way I can put it. Just while we're on the subject, Gerald Donald's side project here is ARPANET, Quantum Transportation, right? Transposition. This one's got a lot of good ones on it. Probability densities, information, quota, wave function, variables, entangled protons. Really cool double out. I think this got reissued a couple years ago. This is 2005 Reflex. Couple CDs by ARPANET, wireless, and this one I think is called Internal Flame. The track I really like on here, man, it's so good. Well, actually, I'm sorry, it's on this one. Infinite Destiny. That's my favorite ARPANET track. Is this on Clone also? Huh. Data Sync. It says record makers. Anyways, that's like 2007. These are roughly around the same time. I think the last one was 2010, but wireless and internal frame. I think this one might be both on the same label. I haven't heard of that label before. Record makers. Don't know that label. But some cool ARPANET stuff here. But yeah, that's kind of my list of, or my history with Drexciya and Gerald Donalds and James Stinson and some of their music. Like, just amazing electro. Those are kind of albums, especially the seven waves, the seven storms. Excuse me. These ones right here. And I feel like I'm forgetting one. But the 7 waves, Labrat XL, they replaced Transmission, Graba 4, Harness the Storm, and the Cosmic Memoirs of the late great Rupert J. Rosenthorpe. That's 6 out of the 7 storms. I want to say the other one is, I don't think it's Electroids, but it could be. But it could be. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Abstract Thought. Which is all I have on vinyl. Yeah, so amazing stuff. But those 7 storms will get better with age, especially the ones that are like themed. They're so cool. I was listening to Dead Can Dance last night. Some of their albums just playing. I wanted to sussing together a kind of an interesting mix, and I wanted to go through their stuff and see if I could find something that was really kind of like ethereal and tribal, and kind of sounded like the world was being born again, and something really powerful. And it kind of has, if you know, Dead Can Dance has that kind of Gregorian chant stuff on it, and in a way, this is like the origin of space music. A lot of their stuff, especially the Graba 4 and such great themed music. Just amazing. So I guess to close us out, what's your top 3 Drexciya records, related Drexciya, and your top 5 Drexciya songs? I think my top 3. This has to be my top 3 CDs, and I don't know which one's third or fourth, because these two are my favorite here. These two are my favorite here. Depending on mood, which one's third? I'd probably say Graba 4 if I think I had to choose one, but that was so close. Those are my top 3 records, but yeah. So what are your top 3 records and top 3 songs by Drexciya? Yeah. So thanks for checking out Electric Cafe today. Sorry, I hope this didn't go on too long. I tend to talk a little bit too much about some of these bands that I love. So sorry for that. I really don't want to sit here for 55 minutes, but sometimes that happens. All right, have a good day, guys.